Good morning, and good morning to our Zoom folks. Glad to have you here on this very hot, very smoky Sunday morning. We're glad you ventured out. And just a note that our hospitality crew has ice cream today. Yeah, so thank you to Lynn Maria. So we welcome you to our Sunday service, and we invite you, please read the community connections that come to your email on Thursdays. Our events coming up include Spiritual Life Team meeting following service today, Taco Tuesday on Tuesday evenings at 7 on Zoom, and our Julie Steinbach, one of our members, is in Romania at the International Convocation of UU Women. Is that right? Okay. And so community team meeting September 15th, Cups Mabon celebration September 22nd, and Walk for the Hungry and the Homeless Saturday, October 5th. So if you're interested, you could talk to someone from the justice team about that. And I believe, is Janine Little coordinating?
There's a link in the announcements, so you can talk to me or Janine, but there's a link to sign up in the announcements on Thursday.
Okay, so it is in the announcements on Thursday. And now our minister, Reverend Maggie Yenoki.
Handle's kind of sticking out there. Good morning, everyone. I know it's hot and smoky. We are hot and smoky. There, how does that? Sounds better than what we're really experiencing. But it is good to see you, and happy Grandparents' Day to everyone who is one and everyone who has one. So yay, grandparents. It's my 5th Grandparents' Day, so I'm thrilled to be there. Checking with the Zoom people. There must be a better name for that. Our Zoom sanctuary. Welcome, everyone. I know there's a few of us here that were struggling a bit. We will talk about that during the joys and concerns. And we open our service, as we do by tradition, ring the bell 3 times, honoring yesterday, celebrating today, and co-creating tomorrow. Our time together in worship is gently woven into all of our daily lives. As a symbol of that connection, we light our chalice with a flame that creates an image for the warmth of community at the heart of our spiritual home. And as I invite our president, Debbie Skirdo, to come up and light our chalice, and she's going, oh, me? Yes, sorry, I didn't have anyone chosen ahead of time. Let's hear the words of Eric Hepburn. We light this flame to remind us that love is at the center. As we grow and connect, mature and deepen, love stays within the center. And when the light of truth burns all else away, love remains our center. I invite you all to stand, and we'll sing together our anthem, our invocation, Spirit of Life. We'll sing 2 verses, first in English and then in Spanish. Please remain standing as we read our covenant together. We affirm that love is the greatest purpose of this congregation. Our search for truth is our constant star, and service is our prayer. We pledge our hearts, minds, and hands to challenge injustice with courage, to make choices for a healthier planet, and to live out our Unitarian, Universalist values every day as beloved community. Thus do we covenant with each other and with all that is sacred in life. Please be seated. I also want to give a shout out to our beloved friends at Pilgrim Place who provided us with beautiful fans. So they're on the back table if anybody else needs one. But anyone in the pulpit is welcome to enjoy having that today. And as Robert is invited here to give us our wisdom tale for today.
Today's story is Meeting What Arrives by Linda Susan Ulrich. Let me begin by my own retelling of a Buddhist parable. There was once a man who decided to become a Buddhist monk. Upon entering the monastery, he made a vow not to leave until he had learned something significant enough that he could teach it to others to relieve their suffering. Finally, after 30 years, he announced that it was time for him to go. The important lesson: meet what arrives. I had a chance to practice meeting what arrives under very different circumstances in a monastery. I was driving on the highway behind a giant truck hauling dirt. The reason I knew what it was carrying is that the black tarp on top wasn't secure. It kept flapping so much that I could tell it might fly off at any moment. But I drew on my practice of staying present and stayed aware of the tarp, the other cars around me, and my speedometer. Sure enough, as the highway went uphill and around a curve, the plastic sheet came undone, floated upward for a second, and then billowed right towards me. In that moment, I was completely calm. It was like I had elongated. I was present to notice how beautifully and elegantly the material caught the air, flowing like a dancer's skirt. I could tell it was going to land across my windshield and cover my view, so I decided to keep driving and see what would happen. Right after it covered me, it got pulled into the slipstream and whipped over the car. When I looked in the rearview mirror, the sheet had dropped to the ground, no longer a danger. About 10 seconds later, I found myself shaken by the experience. A combination of adrenaline and, oh my God, what just happened, careening around in my nervous system. And yet I recognized that if I'd seized up with fear and slammed on the brakes instead of meeting what actually arrived, I could have gotten seriously hurt. Reverend Dr. Samuel Wells noted that the ability to act from presence and instinct is the goal of theological ethics. To be present in the moment and so steeped in our spiritual values, beliefs, and aspirations that we act from that place without needing to think about it. It's no longer what we do, it's who we are. This is a moment when those of us living in the U.S. must ask ourselves, who are we as a country? More than that, let's ask, how can we become something better, especially for those struggling in the margins? Finding our center and staying present to what's real, our world, our hope, our stories, can help us embody our values, whatever comes our way. May we meet whatever arrives with open hearts and open minds, and may our commitments and aspirations run so deep that choices become obvious, even in the midst of complexity. Thank you. And now if the kids that are here can come up and get our chalice, you guys can sing us to our class.
Lynn's going too, a new teacher for you. How great. Have a great time. We'll miss you. As a now mature 73-year-old congregation, We have a long tradition of the gathering of an offering as a part of our weekly worship. By doing so, we embrace the ritual by exploring the ways that bringing our offerings can be spiritually symbolic. It's a time for reflecting on the gifts that we bring. Our offering tells us that the act of giving is essential to our spiritual well-being. Here at Monte Vista Unitarian Universalist congregation, we choose to share 50% of the offerings that we gather that are not earmarked as pledges, and with a charity that aligns with our values and serves our relatives and neighbors and friends in the Montclair area. Each charity is pre-selected by the Justice team and approved by the board. For the month of September, we share our plate to support the good work of the Inland Valley Hope Partners. Each week throughout the year, we invite you to bring your offerings of non-perishable food and grooming supplies that are delivered to their Beta Center to serve those in need. During September, we will enhance our gifts to them with the added financial support of our Share the Plate. And it is with grateful appreciation for our shared hopes and values that our generous offerings will now be given and received. So once a month, I gather with the other UU ministers in the LA area. We call the meeting GLAM. We say the Greater LA Ministers. And I was introduced as the minister with Lily Popova. So there you have it. Those are the joys that we like to share with one another. It warms our hearts and unites us. Here, we have also dark things that we carry, sad things, and things that are processing toward joy, but they're somewhere in the middle and difficult. So here we are together with so many this week. Some weeks we just offer things for the world and the silent things that remain unspoken, but I have quite a few to share with you today. The first comes from Megan and Bob. Megan writes, "Joy. It's a joy for a lovely friend. A lovely visit with a lifelong friend who is dying of cancer." Feel that bothness. Even as ill as she's been, she's built a home and has a garden and bees. Beautiful. Thank you for sharing that with us. I have a text from, and I do receive them by text. If there's anyone in our Zoom sanctuary today who has anything you want to share with the congregation, type it into the chat and I'll be able to see it here in the pulpit. I have a text from Lynn Maria. This is one of those hard ones. Yeah, she's sitting by herself today. And here's why. "I'm submitting this for joys and sorrows. It's more legible than my handwriting by text." Yeah. Murray Smith broke his right wrist in 5 places last Tuesday morning playing pickleball. He went deep to return a lob, and his momentum carried him into some metal bleachers located just behind the court. Fortunately, he was playing with an EMT. And there were a team of paramedics were playing at the arena, so they kindly stabilized his arm enough for his journey to the emergency room. Yeah, so Murray has a surgery coming up. Yeah, on Thursday, did you say? Yeah, so we'll be holding Murray in our thoughts for that. Also, a warm welcome. We have Meg Mathias back with us. She's on Zoom. Thank you. Yeah. So, I don't know, Jaryus, can you show the camera of the congregation to, I love throwing things at him. There, everyone wave to Meg. And everyone else that's on the Zoom. Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Jaryus. Sorry about that. Should have given you a heads up. But thank you to Anne for making that possible for Meg to be with us this morning. Also, the wildfire. Boy, you can really smell it out there. We are hot and smoky. Yeah. And it's causing evacuations. So we think about the people that live close by. We think of our own Ruth Green, who lives very close. And she's not evacuated yet that I know of. I checked with Joseph yesterday. But just the air quality is just so difficult, along with the heat. We just pray that there's no interruption of power for those people. What else have I got in here? Oh, this month, each year, every year, the month of September is set aside as Suicide Prevention Month. And during the week ahead, this coming Tuesday, September 10th, is dedicated to World Suicide Prevention Day. Letha and I will be doing a little more on this at next week's service, and we'll have a ritual for those of us who have been touched by suicide in our lives. So that's how we will honor it. Oh, what a week it's been. There was a 14-year-old student, 14, who was charged in a shooting at Appalachia High School in suburban Atlanta on Wednesday, where 2 students and 2 teachers were killed. Wednesday was also the first day of kindergarten for my grandson and many other children in the world, but the two are not unrelated. Yeah. Sometimes it just calls to light an extra candle for the heavy things and the joys and the sorrows, the shine and the shadow that we're all walking through right now. And we'll talk more about that during the sermon. I also want to invite everyone to next Sunday service, because we will be having a cake, Costco cake, yay, for George, who will be celebrating his 70th birthday that day. So, yay. And before we move on into the prayer, I just want to send your love and your holding to our beloved Ellen that's here for the first time without George after his passing. So we just need to hold that. Thank you. Our time of prayer today flows with our theme of finding our center as we explore the practice of centering prayer. Centering prayer is a practice that's embraced by people of all faiths and honors the spiritual traditions of interfaith prayer. The concept of this style of prayer was developed by Father Thomas Keating, a Catholic monk, who was also a pioneer in interfaith dialogue. What we do is we choose a sacred word. Select a word that symbolizes your intention to be open to the presence of Spirit with a focus on action. Maybe the word peace or unity, recovery, stability, healing. We choose that word, and I invite you now to join as you're comfortable and make yourselves comfortable. Sit, let your eyes float closed if you're comfortable with that, and just relax your body. And introduce the word that you have chosen to yourself. You can speak them aloud, that you're invited to do that. Or quietly hold the word as a symbol of your consent to the practice of the word that you've chosen. So focus on just that word and repeat it silently in your thoughts, or like I invited you, aloud if you'd like. Let it be the center of your focus and your thoughts. When your thoughts drift, gently return to the word you've chosen. Beginners to this practice start with shorter prayer periods, such as 5 minutes, and they gradually increase the time. Centering prayer usually ends in a time of silence with your eyes closed for just another moment. So we will sit in prayer with our chosen sacred word for a few minutes of centering prayer while we enjoy a background recording with a video of Enya's song, May It Be. Then I will close our time together with a blessing by John O'Donohue. Jaryus? Awaken to the mystery of being centered here in this lifetime and enter the quiet immensity of your own presence. May you have joy and peace in the temple of your senses. May you receive great encouragement when new frontiers beckon. May you respond to the call of your gift and find the courage to follow its path. May warmth of heart keep your presence aflame. May anxiety never linger about you. May your outer dignity mirror the inner dignity of your soul. May you take the time to celebrate the quiet miracles that call out to you, yet seek no attention. May you be consoled in the secret symmetry of your soul. May you experience each day as a sacred gift woven around your heart, the heart of wonder. And may you know in your bones that you are loved. Please remain seated as we sing now our gentle song, number 1053, How Could Anyone? Our reading today is The Unexpected Sacredness of Things, and it is told in the voice of Reverend Tanya Marquez, and it will be given to us by our own Charles Edwards. I've got a copy up here for you.
Good morning. Let me put my eyes on. It was one of those times when the wheel of life turned and I found myself in unknown territory. I had made a difficult decision that was still painful, despite the fact that it was my choice. After leaving a place that had meant a lot to me, I found myself immersed in the fogginess that sometimes comes with the in-between spaces. Just 1 week into this liminal space, I received an invitation to participate in a small business market in my city. It was a space offered through a Mexican Chicanx organization, and the day of the event was only a week away. I spent the entire week getting ready for this event, making candles, preparing loose incense, putting together self-care ritual kits. This mindful work created a silence within me that unexpectedly brought me to my center and allowed me to process a lot of what I was feeling. I felt saved by this holy work of giving all of my attention to the things that were in front of me. The event was like no other I had ever been to. I felt welcome and in community as soon as I arrived. I met my neighbors, sellers, rejoiced in the music the DJ was playing, and felt a great sense of pride for being part of the event. Then, right before the market was officially open, We, all the vendors, were invited to join a circle to bless the day and open the market. This ritual and sense of reverence was so unexpected. We called the 5 directions, north, south, west, east, and center. We received the blessing with incense and felt a deeper sense of connection and community with the strangers that were now becoming familiar. Now, every month, I sign up to go and feel grateful every time I'm invited to be a part of it. My teenage daughters also found a place where, for themselves, either helping me or volunteering to help with organizing and setting up the event. I've always believed that the sacred can be found everywhere, and every time I find it unexpectedly, I am filled with awe and surprise. And every time something like this happens, it makes me wonder what sacredness in life I have overlooked, thinking the space was too ordinary, too familiar to be holy. May our hearts easily centered and open to see the holy everywhere we go. And may we be filled with joy and awe when we find sacredness in unexpected moments and places. Thank you. You good?
Thank you, Lily. I heard a little Beatles in there. Was that a Beatles? Did anyone else get that vibe? Yeah. Of course, I hear Beatles everywhere. So. Growing up when I did. It was in the early fall of 1974 when, as a freshman at Sullivan County Community College in the Catskill Mountains of upstate New York, Jack's smiling, yes, I began a yoga course to fulfill my physical education requirements. I thought I was so clever to sign up for such an easy course and take the easy road. How hard could it be, really, to sit on a mat and stretch in order to find your true center, whatever that could mean? But I soon figured out that that mat has had more to teach me than I had any inkling of. One of the cultural influences at the time was probably a teacher for many of us boomers, as David Carradine stepped forward in the role of Kwai Chang Caine in the series Kung Fu. Come on, you guys, put your hands up. Yeah. While on his private search for his brother, this character became a traveling teacher of peace and the inner serenity that comes from being in touch with one's senses and one's own search for the kind and centered self within. And while this character was portrayed as a private person and a seeker of peace and unity, his sense of social responsibility often brought him into the open to fight for justice and make a difference on behalf of anyone who was being harmed. And with that, my 18-year-old self set off on the centering path of justice-seeking grasshopper. So college for grasshoppers was a time of dedicated learning to the benefits of centering. It was also a memorable segment of my life when I began to understand how my earlier experiences of rejection and abuse and separation were still in dire need of my attention and healing. It was time to embrace a different way of being, to consciously create a way to make connections rather than rejections, a way to strengthen relationships rather than break them, and a way to heal rather than harm, to be accountable to life in a way that mattered, and to live in a way that was motivated to change what is harmful and preserve what is just and centered in love. All of these qualities are core to the centering of our lives at any age, but they're crucial to our lives now in this time of unprecedented polarization. We can see and sense so much division in our world, most evidently through the lens of global politics. But we do well to explore the ways that cultural polarization is even more of a factor to our current sense of uncertainty, even more than politics. Cultural polarization can be seen as a root cause of even more personal and internal turbulence than even the red versus blue hate fest that is exhausting us right now in too many ways to list or mention. So let's suffice it to say that all polarization and all of its causes are everywhere we look right now. And perhaps, maybe, this is the time and the place where we as Unitarian Universalists can stand strong in our faith and serve best in this time of uncertainty, to center and not polarize, holding love at our center, and giving ourselves permission to admit that we all can do better at that. Let's always be growing from the center of love and increasing our passion for new ways of inclusion and humility and love, not separation. Ways to serve one another more than wanting to be served ourselves. Ways to continue to grow rather than pulling away or deciding for ourselves that we're actually pretty zen and pretty perfect spiritually right now. Thank you very much. And ways to learn and ways to teach. Let's always be learning. And learning to create a glorious woven tapestry of ethics and values in the world that form a container for safe, grounded learning, growing, centered community in a world that is filled with uncertainty. A place that is safe for us to explore the ways that we are each being called toward the change that is rolling toward us at this time. A place where we can wonder together and teach each other through the things that we've suffered and the things that we don't see. A place where we can know we're home, where we can grieve together and grow together. A place we know is safe enough to learn even more about ourselves together. May we always be that safe and centering place of growth for one another, even during the times that the world is not quite as uncertain, if that ever comes. And may we always be growing toward becoming known to the world as, oh, those people. They're the people who know how hard life can be and who know how to make it easier for each other. Those you use, they're the people you want to grow with. The people who want you to grow into your best self without telling you what that best self needs to be or what it might look like. We're the people with ethics and values that insist on equity and as an incredible history of justice making all over the world. And may we insist of ourselves and covenant with ourselves that above all of that we be humble examples of our Unitarian Universalist faith, who honor and have regard for those of other traditions without any sound of supremacy or statements that our faith is better, or how fortunate that we are here instead of where we were. We may not realize how we offend those who are rooted in the traditions where we may have been in the past when we criticize our own faith journey. So may we walk humbly, knowing that every faith has gifts that are needed in this world, and while also being self-aware enough to see that we all have work to do and growing to do. Because when we pause to remember that student on the yoga mat in 1974 who was just beginning to open and who is still learning, if she's lucky, and she wants to share with you that the growth that came through the yoga mat was just an opening. And the lessons that we learn as we grasshoppers still need a healthy centering place in which to grow. We all do. And we all need centering in this overwhelming time of uncertainty. I think there's so much of it that we partition off or we put into little pouches and store for another time. It's a lot to handle all at once. We often believed that relying on our faith was the way through any time of difficulty. But the ways we grew, living out and learning within our faith, was not enough. It's not enough. We haven't done enough. We need to grow more. We need to grow further. But there is our centering in our growth. Not growing toward the right or even to the left, but growing from a place of being in the center and being a place where love can serve through you, wherever you are, even in the grocery line or on a yoga mat in 2024. Stay in the center and you will be ready to move in any direction, Alan Watts tells us in our centering thought this week. It's good advice. Because we just cannot know for certain what direction we will be asked to turn next, can we? And it's that same experience for all of us these days. It's good to be in such good company when our days are so filled to overflowing. So thank you. Thank you for being you. Thank you for being here. And thank you for all you are doing to be centered and to move onward. Because that is truly who we are. We are the people of the center, and we are holding love there. We're ready to reach out in any direction and serve in a way that is helpful and loving. We are the people at the center who have every intention to keep love at the center of our lives. And we find the center here in our congregation. So we are the people in the center. And we are holding the center. And we are opening ourselves to new ways to always be centered. And that is who we are. And I invite you to stand as comfortable as we sing together our sending song, We Are, number 1051. Yeah, beautiful. Thank you. And we'll read our unison benediction together. As we extinguish our chalice flame and close our time together on this day, we take this flame with us to illuminate our journey and to make us a light in this world that we love. Let's enjoy the postlude. May our lives be like a centering prayer to water our dry souls, to mend our broken hearts, to seek this world's beauty, and to help carry us through its storms. Blessed be.
Hello, Bruce. God bless you.